Very good evening to all our viewers. Thank you for joining us tonight on the Evening Review. My name is Toivan Jabela, your host. Tonight we are hosting Linda Scott. She is Namibia's High Commissioner to the UK to share with us any latest developments regarding the recent announcement by the British High Commissioner here in Windhoek regarding scrapping the visa-free regime that existed for Namibians visiting the UK. Thank you, Her Excellency, for making time. If you can give us, in not so many words, your own reaction to that development.
Thank you, Toivo. Thanks for having me. I think it's really a pity that the UK government has decided to change its visa policy towards Namibia at this time. It is true that the United Kingdom is struggling with immigration issues at present, and it's an issue that's discussed a lot in the UK Parliament and over which there is substantial public debate. I think we must recognize that there are also other countries that have had similar measures imposed on them, and that the UK has even restricted some EU citizens in terms of their entry and stay in the UK.
Yeah.
So the UK has reiterated that since 2016, there's recently been a significant and growing increase, quote unquote, in the number of UK asylum applications from Namibian nationals at the UK border. The UK has seen this as an abuse of the asylum system, and they have emphasized that they didn't see any other option. So it seems that the efforts that were made to address the situation of people entering the UK without an intention to leave was not improving. And so Namibia has now joined those countries that require visas to visit the UK.
Yeah.
I also think it's important for us to recognize that a visa system is not a punishment, but it is, for most countries in the world, a normal state of affairs. So I do hope that we'll now see that it will become a smooth process to apply for a visa, including for students traveling to the UK for studies. My greatest worry at this time is that those who have relatives in the UK and may need to travel urgently won't be able to do that without applying for a fast-track visa, which is expensive and still takes some time. So I guess what I would like to say is those who do have relatives or wish to travel to the UK should apply for a visa a month or so in advance of their trip, so that they are sure to receive their visas in good time. Toivo, while I have the floor, I would like to reiterate that Namibia and the UK have enjoyed a positive and constantly growing relationship since our independence in 1990. When we established diplomatic relations. So our relationship has been focused on economic ties and on our common values, which we've built and worked on together for our mutual benefit, including reforming and improving the Commonwealth. And when the UK assisted us in our education system when we became independent, and many other areas where we continue to see excellent cooperation, including in trade, mining, fishing, in finance, and also in manufacturing.
Yeah. No, thank you, High Commissioner. So the bone of contention as far as this asylum thing is concerned is concerned, especially by the British government, that when they're saying there's abuse of that system, it seems to imply that they think that these applicants are not really people looking for asylum or who qualify ordinarily for asylum. It's people who want to go to the UK and then they use asylum as an entry point. But where do you think, in your own assessment, High Commissioner, this influx is coming from? Why are people wanting to leave Namibia for the UK?
Toivo, you're the journalist. I'm sure you're going to find the reasons. So I think I'll stick to my remit and you stick to yours. But I do think that the people who come here that we've spoken to, they do think that they can get jobs here. unfortunately, I haven't seen people coming here really to look for opportunities to develop projects. I have offered to work with Namibians to develop projects. That hasn't been taken up. So I'm not really sure exactly. I would suppose that people come here for economic reasons, and because they haven't maybe realized the opportunities that are already in Namibia, particularly in areas such as the green hydrogen field and now, of course, petroleum. All of those have got opportunities. We have tourism, especially small business, joint, those kind of opportunities are there in Namibia, and I do think that this will maybe cause us to be more creative in how we look at our economic concerns.
Yeah. How has Namibians themselves in the UK reacted? Are you seeing, for example, an increased number of people coming over to your office wanting to inquire about how to return safely back to the country, or maybe even complaining, because we know that some have complained about this whole development. Do you have any sense of how Namibians have reacted that side?
Well, Toivo, most people, when they travel abroad, they're unlikely to go to their embassy or high commission when they're traveling unless they are in trouble, denied boarding, become seriously ill, land up in jail, or someone dies, and then we're asked to facilitate the return of the body. These are normal consular activities, and they could include the facilitation of applications for new passports or birth certificates or lost documents or emergency travel documents. And there are, but I want to say there are a few organizations here in the UK formed by Namibians who live here. And it is those organizations that we've heard from. They contacted the High Commission to ask about the visa system, how this would impact them, or even whether it was true that the UK provided assistance for returning citizens to their countries of origin. So we do have a system by which we ask Namibians who live in the UK to register with the High Commission completely voluntarily. I want to stress that. But it's to allow us to have the information, to have their information, so we can email them, or if they have a next of kin and the next of kin wants to contact them, has a problem to reach them or whatever, then we at least have their details. But that is voluntary, and so most of those people have not contacted us. So we usually rely on the organizations or the network that is here of Namibians for engagement. They contacted us. So we've had a few questions from people. Should we get a visa? This is my situation, etc. And of course, the answer has been yes in most of the cases.
Yeah. And then there was also the situation around your office issued some sort of circular this week detailing some packages that the UK government seems to be offering those that are willing to return back to the country. Is there any uptakes? Is there a way of tracking movement there, whether people are actually taking up these offers?
Toivo, I can't answer that question, and frankly, I think I'm as curious as you are to know the answer.
Yeah.
But we will also not know whether people are applying for return assistance or not, because in the first place, we don't know who those people are that have applied for asylum. Somebody who applies for asylum is basically saying that they don't want that country any longer.
Mm.
I think a lot of people don't realize what it is, what the meaning is for asylum. So we've become aware that many people were not aware that by claiming asylum when they arrive in the UK, they were actually giving up their right to Namibian citizenship, and that they would then lose the right to use their passports. So in effect, until they're either recognized in the UK as an asylum seeker or rejected, they would not have any recourse to assistance because they become like a stateless person. They're not Namibians and they don't belong to the UK. But once they've been rejected, once their asylum application has been rejected, then they are considered Namibians again, and then they're no longer welcome in the UK without a visa. So if they are accepted, they would no longer have the right to visit Namibia ever again. They would never see their family back in Namibia or their friends. And I'm certain that most people didn't think about this before they took that decision. So we wouldn't know who those people are that would be applying. And I'm just assuming that from the fact that we actually got this inquiry from the organizations or through the organizations of or networks of Namibians here in the UK, that there will be some people who will apply. And that's basic. We wait to see who those people are and what the UK government is going to tell us.
Yeah. The High Commissioner of the UK here in Windhoek was on this show last week, and he doesn't believe actually that there are conditions in Namibia that warrant anyone to seek asylum in the UK or elsewhere perhaps. And you spoke just now about people giving up their citizenship and becoming essentially stateless. What is your own assessment, High Commissioner, of conditions in Namibia as a representative of the Namibian government in the UK? Are the conditions conducive to keep people here at home?
Trevor, what I can say is we've all been through a very, very tough time with COVID. I was in Namibia last winter. I was in Namibia the winter before that, during the time of COVID. I saw the impact of COVID, but I was also at home recently and saw the difference, saw how our projects, the hope that is being given through the green hydrogen projects, through the petroleum projects, through the exchanges in education, are giving people hope and are giving people opportunities. One of the things that I do believe that we are working, we are doing very well in is our education system, the higher education system, where our universities are engaging with universities on this end. For example, I want to just remind you that Professor Peter Kachavivi, the Speaker of the National Assembly, on the 17th of July, was recognized by Cardiff University, which is one of his alma maters. And he was recognized for his work that he's done all the way through from being SWAPO representative in the UK before independence right through to now. And then University of Warwick, on the 21st of July, recognized Advocate Beans Gawanas for her work. And as you know, she's currently the Vice President of the Global Fund. And this shows what Namibians are able to achieve. This also shows that our relationship with the UK is very strong, that we are working on education, that we have many Namibians who are studying here and continuing or returning to the UK. I know of several young people who've gone back to Namibia and they are doing so well that, you know, they are really building up our country. So I do think that there is huge opportunity for Namibians. And, you know, the relationship with the UK is so strong. We have the Dean of the Medical Faculty in Namibia, Professor Judith Ward. She holds two positions. She holds the position as the Dean of Medical Faculty at UNAM and the Cardiff University Deputy Dean at the medical school there. And, you know, that's just one of the universities that we are working with. Wherever I go, the universities are eager to work with Namibians, to work with Namibian institutions. And we now have honorary consuls in Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and we're working together with the NIPDB to set up, to give opportunities for Namibians to grow their economic and cultural ties, to reskill people. So one of the things we're doing here, and I hope this is going to have a strong impact in Namibia, is looking at how countries or people such as the Welsh people in Wales reskilled themselves after all their mines were closed. You know, there used to be a strong coal mining community and they had to reskill altogether. You go to Wales today, you see a very, very different place than one that was covered with mines. And they are helping Namibians also to reskill. They're working with NUST, working with UNAM. As you know, the speaker is also the chancellor of NUST, and he's been engaging with the University of Wales Trinity St David in Swansea. So all of those people are working very hard to make a place for Namibians in their own country. And I think it's up to Namibians to find those opportunities. I know we're talking about the UK today, but I really want to jump a little bit into my broader mandate, which is one of the things that I've been working with is Malta. So I've seen in Malta where small businesses have grown in terms of engaging with the tour operators, setting up small tour operators for the ships that come bring the tourists into Malta. And those tour operators are engaged with the shipping companies. So when the tourists land in Malta, in Valletta, immediately they know what they're going to do. They're going to go and engage with the small operators who are going to take them on a tour. Namibians can also do that. That's a huge opportunity for Namibians. We've deepened our harbour. We've made a space. Our harbour town is growing. Walfish Bay is growing. Lüderitz is growing. There are opportunities down south. I saw yesterday, I hadn't looked at my social media for a couple of days, but I saw that, there are flights now to Lüderitz more and more. So there are tourism opportunities to be exploited with those flights. There are cars. There are so many opportunities. We just have to be a bit more creative. And also, I want to say that Namibia is part of SACU, and through SACU, we have a very strong trade partnership with the United Kingdom. So we are sending our grapes, our dates, our blueberries, our meat. All of that is being exported to the UK. So somebody has to grow those fruits. Somebody has to grow the meat. All of that has to start somewhere, and that's where Namibians can find their opportunities.
Yeah. I wanted to go on a break, but I think we'll just continue. The conversation is getting exciting for me, High Commissioner. So one of the things that have been said here locally is whether Namibia must reciprocate these visa requirements to sort of respond to the UK's decision. But I've seen in New Era this week the Minister of Tourism and Environment and Tourism, Pohamba Shifeta, said that if Namibia was to replicate the same against the UK citizens coming to Namibia, that Namibia actually has more to lose by doing that, especially I suppose from the perspective of tourism. Your thoughts?
Well, I did hear about Minister Pohamba Shifeta saying that there's reciprocity would have an impact. But my remit is, as a diplomat, to build relations, no matter what the obstacles are. So that's what I'm focused on. And as I would like to add that I'm a positive person. And I believe that given our long history with the United Kingdom, I'm certain that we will continue to further develop these already excellent relations that we have for our mutual benefit. And I look forward to us reversing the situation, where we will see a visa-free situation in place once again. And that's what my office is working towards.
Yeah. In terms of, and I know you've touched a little bit on the general nature of the relationship between the two countries. What is your assessment of that relationship? Not in terms of whether the countries are friendly towards one another, but in terms of really substantive issues. I mean, we have China, for example, here, and usually there's this perception that the Chinese are, dominating. They have this dominant presence in Africa. The UK-Namibia relations, how do you see it moving forward, and are we benefiting from it as a country?
Well, I think there are, I don't focus on the Chinese per se, because I'm focused on the UK. But what I do want to say is that when they left the European Union, we made sure, as Southern Africa, not only as Namibia, we made sure that we were not going to lose out anything. And what we did was we engaged with the UK and we set up the UK Economic Partnership Agreement, which is with SACU plus Mozambique. And it came into effect in January 2021. And we did that because we wanted to be sure that there was no hiccup in duty-free, quota-free access for goods going to Namibia or from Namibia, and the rest of the region, of course, which is Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, and Mozambique. And actually, what we've seen is that we have no tariffs and quotas on products, about 85% of our exports. We've seen that there are more people who are working around growing that kind of trade. I mean, when that EPA came into being, we didn't have blueberries, which we were exporting, I believe. And subsequently, we're now exporting to the UK fruit and vegetables, wood, pork, meat, and processed meat. So I think let's be positive and let's find ways in which we can invite investors into Namibia. I do believe that the work that the NIPDB is doing is very strong. We have an investment officer based in the office in London. She's doing an excellent job. The NIPDB is really holding the hands of investors to bring them into Namibia. And, also there are people who are able to assist Namibians who want to develop the packaging to add value to products to sell in the UK market and the international market. So we're putting people in touch with them to rebrand, to look at, for example, just to take something that we could grow further is maybe our oysters, to see how we can brand them so that they become a specific Namibian brand. That's something that we can look at more of, branding our products so that they are seen as niche products and that they get more value when they're out there in the world. These are areas that we're working on, and I do know we've got other areas that we work on, including with the City of London. So London as a city is one thing, but then you've got the City of London, which is the financial hub of basically a large part of the financial world. And so we are working with them. We're working with the Bank of Namibia, putting those kinds of relations in place. And I think we can only go from strength to strength. So The visa situation is just a hiccup, I believe, in what we can achieve with the UK as a nation. So let's look for our opportunities and let's grow them.
Absolutely. Excellency Linda Scott, thank you very much for making time and really for filling us in on the relations between the two countries. We will talk to you soon again, but we wish you the very best actually from the land of the brave.
Thank you very much, Toivo. All the best to you and your team.
Wonderful. That was tonight's show with Linda Scott. She's Namibia's High Commissioner to the UK. Of course, commenting on the visa situation involving Namibians and on the general nature of the relationship between the two countries. Thank you for watching.